So hello everyone, my name is FIRDOSH Sheikh. I'm co-founder and CEO of DRIVE. As mentioned about what DRIVE is. DRIVE is a decentralized ride-sharing platform. It's one of the first ride-sharing platform that use blockchain as a technology. And I'm proud to say that we are not just an idea. We have a fully functional app up and running in Bangalore in India. It's been 2 weeks. We launched our application. I'm so proud to tell that DRIVE is first real world blockchain implementation on road where you are using this technology in your day-to-day life. Little bit about me. um, I am a chartered accountant by profession. I don't come from technology background. I've worked with companies like Microsoft and few hedge funds before starting my journey of building Drive as a platform. So it's very evident that I don't come from tech background. When I decided to do Drive, also, I had no idea that there's this whole new world technology that I'll be using to build this platform. But with time, I realized this is what I need to actually give the world what I desire to. My journey started of building Drive with a very common ride that I took with a platform where I was driving towards airport and my driver asked me to cancel the trip. When I asked him why you want me to cancel the trip, he told me about the huge commission he was paying to ride sharing platform. And that's where I realized why there's a big gap, why someone who's just providing platform is charging from the earning of drivers. So it was basically like, we all call ride sharing platform the disruptors, and they all made your life very convenient, bringing drivers and rider closely. But at the end of the day, what we could not see was there is so much exploitation that was taking place. Nobody was paying attention to it because for us as a rider, it was always about convenience. Using my mobile application and getting a cab at my doorstep is what I care about. Nothing more is I as a rider care about. And that's when I saw this problem. I started looking at the deeper level and understanding like why the problem exists, because the whole idea of technological disruption in ride sharing ecosystem was to uplift the driver community. And if you look at them, all of them are multi-billion dollar companies. But if you look back at the driver community, and if they're still struggling to earn their livelihood, that itself says that something is wrong. Something has gone wrong and it needs attention. And that's where we started building Drive as a platform with a very basic idea in head that I want to build something with zero commission, where I can give drivers the ownership on 100% of the fare. And that's how I came across blockchain as a technology, where I saw, okay, these are certain features that I can use and make it easy. For me, the question was about transparency, which is a far-sighted dream in mobility industry as a whole. You can never go and verify the fare that you're paying or how you got a driver allocated and why there was a surge price at certain point in the time. You can never go back and verify those information. So as blockchain as a technology, it gave me that ability. Blockchain gave me the ability to bring more transparency, be more fairer. And that's how we started using blockchain as an underlying technology. And the reason why I choose this topic of speaking about blockchain for real world is there are not many solutions out there which can be used as a part of your day-to-day life. There are very few, or I personally know only one application, that is mine, which I can use on my day-to-day life to commute, which uses blockchain as a technology. And transportation industry as a whole has a lot of problems. And if I can see one problem, there are 10 different problems that can also be identified, and we can use this technology to improvise. So we are not doing something like a rocket science with blockchain as a tech. It is a simple tech. It's a step ahead in the evolution of the industry as a whole. It was like internet of thing back then. That's what blockchain is. But the very sad part is that we all look at blockchain and limit ourselves to the uh, whole definition of crypto, that everybody is building things for only crypto ecosystem. That ecosystem itself is very small. We have to look beyond crypto and look at what blockchain has to offer, because there's so much that blockchain can offer and how it can be implemented in your day-to-day life. Very few examples of blockchain in mobility industry, because I am working in mobility, is where you can use blockchain for verifying your vehicle's history, better supply chain tracking, automating transactions, or peer-to-peer sharing, leasing of the vehicle. Now these are a very basic thing. It just no one is actually doing something when it comes to using blockchain for day-to-day life. And obviously blockchain is a very promising technology of our time, and the core concept of blockchain is very simple. It's just a public ledger, and it is a key to mass adoption. And there's something that I want to talk about, is there's a lot of hurdles in real life adoption. Like we ourselves, with the application that uses blockchain, faces a lot of issues when it comes to using that whole technology, scaling it. There are a lot of transactions that has to be done through blockchain. Blockchain has its own limitation, but unless and until somebody is using the platform for building something that's being used on day-to-day life, you will not realize, okay, that kind of problems also exist, because mostly blockchain is now used for financial transactions, where you use it for moving money. That's it. So I guess we are someone who's doing that. We have took that step where we say, obviously my idea was not to build a blockchain based application for mass adoption. I wanted to solve a problem, and then I saw this is something that can be used, and we should start looking at our day-to-day lives and see how we can improvise those activity, how we can remove the middleman and bring people more closer with the use of the technology. The real mass adoption of blockchain will happen when we stop talking about it, when we start using application like DRIFE, where people are using it but they don't know what blockchain is. That is how everything on cloud works. You never ask Amazon that what is the underlying technology that they're using to make sure that I can buy a product from their application. And similar has to go with blockchain as well. Nobody should care about it. And at DRIVE, we are able to achieve it to a certain degree, where the drivers and rider who are using my application, they have no idea about the technology that I have in place. There is also, I guess, there is a lack of knowledge and perception from the general public of the difference between blockchain and cryptocurrency, which is also one of our hurdles, that everybody limit blockchain to cryptocurrency. Even if you look at the movies and how people portray the blockchain, is obviously always show it for darknet transactions, or where people are using crypto to do some illegal activity, which is not the truth. Obviously that's something that happened with everything that exists, but from the mainstream perspective, I guess blockchain is still something that is not widely understood. We don't understand it clearly, and we do have to develop real world use cases for general public. People don't particularly have to understand what blockchain does. They just need to know the outcome of it and how it benefits them. And apart from that, I guess what I would like to say is, like, it's very important that we educate people, tell people that blockchain is beyond crypto. That crypto is just one use case which is now widely used within the crypto ecosystem, and tell people that there's an endless possibility that this technology could offer. And otherwise mass adoption is very hard to achieve. That is why it is essential that we bring this technology and knowledge about what blockchain is to more and more people. And I would also like to remind everyone here, or people who are like very ambitious blockchain community member, because the good part of the crypto as a whole, or blockchain as a whole, that our community is very strong, that people do trust in the power of technology that we have, and the community is always very strong. We have seen never a stronger community that exists in our ecosystem that has existed before. People so passionate about what is being built in this industry. There's something that I would like to say is that, that a goal without a plan is just a wish, and you will never fail until you stop trying. And this industry is still in this infancy and is so ready for ambitious idea to become reality. It just, we have to look beyond crypto, as we did at one point in time, and said that, okay, this technology as a whole has so much to give. Let's not limit your ideas to just building something in the crypto space. I know for a fact a lot of people who are just building things in the crypto space is because it has this quick money that you can make. Everybody's making quick money because you build something in the DeFi space, or these days NFTs and metaverses. But unless and until I'm using something on my day-to-day life which has nothing to do with the crypto aspect of it, an application that I use to move from one place to another, or an application where I go to a hospital or to any store, and it was using that technology, and it is making maybe like, it's bringing down the cost, the transaction cost goes away, the middleman goes away, things might become cheaper for you, more affordable for you. And you can share not only value among the two people who are involved in a transaction, but you're also sharing rewards, is where I see application like DRIFE coming in, and more application if people start understanding that we not only have to build products for crypto ecosystem, we should start building products for real world. And that's what I'm saying for a long time now, that we need people to start building real world products, which is not happening, which is sad. But yeah, as we did, I guess a lot of people should start doing that. So yeah, that's it from my side.
For those, could you kindly share how people can check out your application? What's the link? Archit has asked for.
Yeah, sure. So as of now, we are only live in Bangalore in India because it's a real world product. I cannot go live digitally across the globe. So we are in Bangalore in India. So if you're in Bangalore or in India, you can search for DRIFE application in Google Play Store or App Store. We are available. You can also go to our website, drife.io, and find out more details about our application.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those. All right. So maybe we can, I think I totally resonate with what you're saying in regard to people not necessarily going to be talking about blockchain technology down the line. It's going to be the application of it. It's almost, once people start adopting it, it's just going to become a way of life, kind of like what happened with Web 2.0. The initial transition, there was a lot of speculation, how can you use your credit card on the internet, and now look at us, shopping online, like we have no concerns. So similarly, that transition is going to happen for this community. My question to you is, how do you see DRIFE specifically getting more adoption in regard to getting the people on board to play a part in your community? But then also, what are you doing currently? Like, what are the current steps to onboard participants and users onto the platform?
So as DRIFE, this is something that we did. Initially, we thought that running operation is something, it's my headache. I have to make sure that DRIFE is up and running in different part of the globe. But with time, I realized doing that will itself defeat the whole purpose of decentralization I want to achieve. So we actually converted the whole business model into a franchisee model, like how in blockchain you have nodes that run around. Similarly, at DRIFE, we have franchisee who run operation across the globe for different city. Not only they have the right to operate, but they also make money when the right take place. So as of now, we have 25 plus city operations for which we have request in place, which we will start processing from 2022 January, sorry. So there's a lot of requests that we have in place. There's a lot of interest from people who would like to see DRIFE around the globe, which in itself gives us a lot of validation that this is something that people need. Apart from that, we did realize that building a real world product in the crypto space is where a lot of people might not be interested in funding you as well, because it's a hard way of doing things. If I go tomorrow and say I have this flashy crypto project, give me money, people gonna give me $10 million. But I will tell you, this is a real world problem that I needs to solve. Nobody's paying attention to it, because it's a long term project. It's not a short term project that you do and just go away with money. Building a real world project is a long term project. That's where we actually started our own mobility vision fund. So anybody who's interested in building real world mobility based application, we have a fund in place will help not only help you build a project, but help you to take that project on road. So mobility vision fund is something that we have worked on. And we also have a list of use cases, a real world use cases in the mobility industry. Specifically, everything that moves can be brought into decentralized world. And that's something we are doing as of now to bring people to build real world applications.
We're excited for you. We're excited to see where DRIFE goes in the future. What would you say has been your biggest struggle to date and your happiest moment being the co-founder of DRIFE?
I guess the most difficult part was the initial days, because I didn't know how things work. Okay. I just decided one day that, okay, I want to build this application having zero knowledge about basic tech. And then you said that I want to do it using blockchain, and then the smart contracts and everything comes in place. So that was a big learning curve for me. Also, the hardest part of, figuring out how this problem can be solved using that technology. And I started working on this idea in late 2018. Even that time, the blockchain itself had a lot of issues, but I'll say important work for me was my whole idea to make this change, that I went ahead with that, even without thinking that maybe I'm not that the best capable person to achieve that. I knew initially I'm not that, but by the time I realized that the only person who could have done this is me, because I had that passion for that change that I wanted to see. I knew for a fact that if I don't do it today, someone else will do it tomorrow. I never wanted to be that person who regrets it. And for a long time now, people told us that the whole idea of DRIFE is surreal. It's way too ambitious, way too crazy to achieve, and you'll not be able to do it. I'm so happy about the fact that we have already proved it. It's already out there in roads. The app is up live running, and we have proved that the theory we spoke about actually works.
Amazing. Okay, at the end of 2022, let's fast forward. What would you consider success for DRIFE? What would be your milestones that you'd want to hit?
Yeah, so the biggest milestone that we want to hit is 5 cities in India and at least 2 franchisees across the globe. That's my personal goal. That's what I want to achieve. Not only having DRIFE in India, but outside India is what I want to do.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Firdos. We have a question from Terrence. He says, how do customers interact with the blockchain without cryptocurrency?
Yeah, and so we do have a crypto aspect to DRIFE. So there are 2 ways of implementing, crypto. Obviously, for now, I cannot ask the people who don't understand cryptocurrency to start using their DRF token or Bitcoins to transact. Now, the truth is nobody's going to use their Bitcoin or Ethereum for transacting these days. Now they have become like investment tokens. There are no more tokens that will be used for transacting on day-to-day life. We're not doing that, although the purpose was that, but now they have become so valuable that nobody will use them. So we have our own token in place, but then you cannot force anyone to make payments using my own token. So we do have a fiat gateway integration, and we allow people to use DRF as a payment. Now, because you cannot force anyone, but you still want to make transaction on blockchain and record payments on blockchain, we do have a DRIFE wallet actually. And every time you fund that DRIFE wallet on the back end, we do mint a stable coin that is our own stable coin that gets minted, and every time it's been transferred to driver and driver withdraw it, it gets burned. So that's how we make sure that there is on the back end, there is a crypto transaction that take place. But as a user, if you're not using crypto, that transaction still take place.
Thanks for that, Firdos. We have a question here from Ayman. He says, how will the DRF token price impact franchise cost? as I believe the FNFT requires 10 million tokens to be staked.
Yeah, so the FNFT, which requires 10 million DRF, is actually the premium cities, like say for Bangalore, which is a tier 1 city in India, requires 10 million DRF for now for staking. Say you want to start New York, it required 10 million DRF. But with time and with the price impact, obviously, I don't want the franchisee to be very pricey that nobody can afford it. We'll keep changing the number of DRF requirement based on the market condition and based on what time what franchisee comes in play. Because I would never want someone to buy a franchisee stake. Actually, it's not a buying, it's owning the franchisee stake by staking DRF token. I will never want someone to just take all like $1 million DRF to get the franchisee, because there's a real world operation that you need to take care of. So that's the number that we have given for just, for suggestive figure. That's not a final number, and keep changing based on the city that you are looking to get the franchisee for.
Thanks for those. Currently, how big is your team, and where have you found some of the, I'm sure, whiz kids to build your product? Where do you look for talent?
I guess we are now 25, 30. I have lost the count now because we are hiring people every day. So I guess we are 30 plus. We are hiring a lot of people every day. We have a hiring going on. So we are growing every day. I guess we'll reach some to 50 by Q1 in 2022, because there's a lot of people joining us in the month of January. So yeah, we are 30 plus now. And most of the people initially who joined us was only on the fact that they believed in the idea of what I'm trying to achieve. And that's how I met my co-founder. My first co-founder, Surya, was the person who was working with me in the same hedge fund company that I was in, where I went ahead and told him about the idea. Then he got Mudit in, and then Mudit actually joined us as a blockchain developer. It's like, okay, this is a problem we want to solve. And he came in as a blockchain developer, but with time, yeah, he's a co-founder now. So that's why I guess the whole idea was to not get people just because you can pay them money, but was about the fact that, they believe in the idea of what you're trying to achieve. And that's where we have grown stronger day by day. Even when at times when you felt that things are not moving, your team was together because they believed in you. They believed in the idea of what DRIFE is.
Amazing. Are there any key takeaways you would like to share with the audience? If you were to just spend a few minutes on your experience of people who are entrepreneurs in the space of blockchain technology, what are the few things you would like to tell them?
So I guess this is my own learning. In 2 years, I'm working on this idea is that, fear is not an option. You cannot get afraid, because there comes a time when you feel nothing is moving. You might have to make changes into how you're looking at what you're trying to achieve. The idea that I had on day one is not the same what I implemented. So a lot of people get stuck with what was their original idea and they don't want to make changes to it. They, even if somebody comes to you and tells you, okay, maybe do things in different way, you don't want to listen to them because you feel like what I've thought in my head is the best that I want to achieve. I guess it is very good that you take what your critic says or your friends and family tells you about, okay, maybe something is wrong or something can be done differently, and implemented. Maybe it can change the whole way you were looking at your product. And that has happened with us, with the whole idea of bringing the whole concept of franchisee, was because somebody told me that doing it on your own will be such a difficult task. That's why I said, yeah, it's gonna be a difficult task. It's gonna take me years and years to move from one city to another city. And we started with franchisee, and that started making whole lot of sense. And now if I say I have like a request for 2025 cities, because I allowed people to be a part of it. People can actually run the operation. So don't get stuck with one basic idea that you had. Listen to everyone who say good and bad both to you, because every day is a learning. Every day is a learning curve for you. It's a never ending learning curve, I must say. And believe in yourself. And that's what I said, never get scared that things are not working. You cannot get afraid, you cannot run away. Just stay there. Okay, everything will start making sense, or one or the other point.
I totally agree, Firdaus. Everything does start making sense eventually.
Yeah.
All right, we have a few more questions that are very useful for the audience. The first one is from Archit. He said, how did your fundraising journey go? Any tips for real world blockchain startups?
So I guess initially it was difficult. Nobody wanted to fund a project which is who said that it's a real world project and it's a blockchain project. It will bring mass adoption, because most of the VCs that we have in the crypto space also want to make quick money with crypto projects. My project has a crypto utility which will come slowly and gradually. My project will not give you 100x on the day it gets launched. It will come eventually. So I guess that was an issue I faced initially. Everything turns around for me when I said that every franchisee is an NFT. So I took that advantage of the time when I started raising fund. Everybody was talking about NFT, and one of my friends said, like, Firdosh, bring the concept of NFT. And because we had license in place where every operation unit is a license, I started saying, okay, it's an NFT. I guess you use the hype when you're raising the investment. Use the hype that's around in the market. Like today, if you want to raise investment, the best way is to implement or get something related to metaverse in your project, and everybody's gonna get excited. That's a harsh reality of this ecosystem. And if you want to raise investment in this ecosystem, you have to adapt to what's happening in this ecosystem.
Great advice. Thanks for those. All right, last question before we wrap up is from Ayman. He said, what would be the biggest obstacle or limitation to enter other countries, such as other cities like Dubai or a country like Brazil?
So I guess Brazil is not that difficult for us because we got our advisor from Uber itself last month. He was a former Uber executive and was heading Uber's public policy and relationship for 14 countries. So that way, we understand the jurisdiction better now because of the person from that country. I guess the biggest problem for implementing DRIFE in any state or any city is licensing requirement. Currently, I'm in Dubai, working on our licensing requirements with RTA approval, and it's a difficult task because countries where a lot of things are not the similar way that you expect. Okay, the politics is different, the geopolitical structure is different. So licensing is something that we need to take care of. It's a process that takes its own time. So even if you want to launch your operations in 2 months, it won't happen because the license takes a lot of time to come in, and there will have a lot of issues with that. And that's where we want to get involved with local people, because they know the place better, they have better connection, and that way they can help us get the license in time. So licensing is one of the issue that, and also we don't want to operate unregulated in any city. We want to make sure that we have license in place and all the approvals in place to operate DRIFE in that city.
Thanks so much for those. We have more questions, but we are at the half an hour mark. Please feel free to stay with us and answer them in chat. We could keep you for longer, but we've got to move on to our next speaker. Thank you for your inspiration, and we wish you all the best. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the forum. All right.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you for being here. Bye, Firdosh.